I don't know why so many Bitcoiners are hell-bent on forcing it on people that are unwilling to learn about it. Like, I think Saifedian said it quite well in Bitcoin Standard, that it is impossible to insulate yourself from the effects of somebody else using money harder than yours. So it's not even up to you. Like, Bitcoin will make your life better if you want it or not. It doesn't matter.
What if I told you that Bitcoin will change your life? In today's episode, we explore how Bitcoin's design is reshaping the world in ways far beyond just money. Nico Laamanen dives deep into why Bitcoin will improve our lives, even for those that don't fully understand it. He explains how Bitcoin's incentive model naturally forces bad actors out of the system, ensuring that good actors thrive, even if people don't grasp what's happening beneath the surface. But that's not all. Nico, a Bitcoin-only publisher and storyteller and founder of Consensus Network, also believes that the true power of Bitcoin lies in storytelling, and not just economics or technology. Why? Because stories capture imaginations in ways that numbers and code can only capture for some. In this episode, Nico explores how storytelling in Bitcoin is already broadening Bitcoin's reach by meeting people where they are, allowing them to learn about freedom in a new way that resonates with them. We'll also uncover how Bitcoin is a digital monolith of truthful information. For the first time in human history, a record of truth exists that cannot be altered by those in power. But even then, as Nico warns, we can't just sit back and expect Bitcoin to fix the world. Human action, self-interest, and manipulation are still at play, and the fight for a better world continues, even after the transition onto a Bitcoin standard. So how can Bitcoin influence the future of human freedom? What does this technology mean for you, whether you embrace it or not? Stick around as we explore these powerful ideas and their world-changing implications. But before we do that, I want to introduce our sponsors, Stampseed, the Orange Pill app, and Swan. Our partners are businesses and people that we respect and our products that we at Bit Intelligence personally use. You're watching 21 Voices.
My name is Nico. I'm from Finland. I live in Madeira, and I'm a publisher. I founded a company called Consensus Network, which is a freedom publishing house. We started with translating some key Bitcoin books like Bitcoin Standard, and then moved on to doing our own original production. One of the latest ones being the 21 Futures, a fiction anthology, first of its kind. The aim of that project is specifically to reach a little bit of a wider audience than you would with just technological or economical books, which are, let's face it, always going to be fringe. So I'm more interested in bringing interesting stories available to people and meet people where they are so that they can learn about Bitcoin, but not only that, mostly about freedom. Seems like there's abundant demand for people to write Bitcoin books, even more so than people for reading Bitcoin books. So a lot of people want to write about, which sort of makes sense because it's such early days. So people who got into it and understood it have a really, myself included, have a really strong urge to educate other people about it. We want to make some movies based on the fiction stories. Like, it's only a matter of time before this becomes sort of more mainstream. And then in the end, we're just talking about stories. That's how human action is so-called programmed. So book publishing, in my opinion, is the original programming language for human action. So those books have high Lindy effect. Let's take a Bible, for example, has been successfully used to program human action for thousands of years. And I don't think that part is going anywhere. We have different tools, electronic tools to do just that. But the fact remains that when an author writes a book or a blog post or whatever, it's called publication, and they're going to publicize a very specific part of their brain and their thinking and immortalize it into a format that can be shared easily. And that's basically the information infrastructure that precedes all human action. I discovered Bitcoin as early as 2010. I was very much into like peer-to-peer software, you know, Napster and Torrent and all that from the late 90s. And Bitcoin was just one of those interesting technologies for me. I didn't really know anything about money, economics. That was not of interest to me. It was purely technical. And I didn't really get it, so it was just a toy to play with. It was the lack of any possessions that gave me the feeling of freedom that I would never be able to give up anymore, and I haven't to this date. So that was the fundamental, like, breaking away from fiat, but it still took me good 6-7 years to actually read the Bitcoin white paper and start understanding the economics. And then I read Bitcoin Standard, and from there I started going through the Austrian economics literature, Murray Rothbard in particular. Went down that rabbit hole, read everything I could find basically from Mises Institute, from Rothbard, and became a bit obsessed by telling people about these things, because I find it mind-boggling. I still do, that these books and this knowledge has existed for such a long time and nobody knows about it, nobody cares. So going back to the storytelling, like, how do we make people care? Like, people like Bitcoin, yeah, so what, why should I care? So by focusing on the stories, like, I think Knut Svanholm said it well in the Bitcoin Atlantis panel we had earlier, that, Bitcoin is magic, and that is perfectly fine to say, because magic is interesting. Like, look at Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. People are interested once they understand, as long as they understand, like, okay, this is make believe, this is not real. When you say, like, something is certain to happen, certainty is the death of truth. So if you say, like, yeah, hyper-Bitcoinization is for sure to come, there's going to be a supply shock, we're all going to be saved, and that sounds cultish. Like, let's be honest, it sounds really cultish, which it is, and that's fine too. It's just that if we want to really be serious about reaching people, we have to meet them where they are. And most people will never be interested in books and economics and technology. It's just so. They won't read a book about Linux just to be able to use their smartphone. That's not going to happen. And the same thing applies to Bitcoin. And specifically in Bitcoin fiction, which we are now doing, it's kind of like an interesting, it's a timely step that will not age well, I think. I don't know if you remember this movie called You Got Mail from the end of 90s. There's Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. It's like a love story where they send love letters to each other via email. And email was made like this, it had a very prominent role in the movie as this groundbreaking technology at that time, which most people didn't know about. And well, you can imagine if you make a movie about email right now, nobody would watch it. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen with Bitcoin. Like, yeah, so these people send money to themselves peer-to-peer. I mean, so what? That's the way, right? But it is not the way right now. So there is a place in this time for Bitcoin-specific fiction, but I anticipate that it's gonna die away, and all books and all stories are just gonna become, stories, not Bitcoin stories necessarily. I don't know why so many Bitcoiners are hell-bent on forcing it on people that are unwilling to learn about it. Like, I think Saifedean said it quite well in Bitcoin Standard, that it is impossible to insulate yourself from the effects of somebody else using money harder than yours. So it's not even up to you. Like, Bitcoin will make your life better if you want it or not. It doesn't matter, because of the incentive models, because suddenly, like, people are always going to want to use custodians and services, because that's how you provide the best services. So what will happen is that the bad actors will be driven out of the market by better actors, because all people want to do is use their money, use the services, have it be convenient, have it be secure. And better operators will just push the bad operators out because of the incentive model. And people still don't know what's working under the hood. And that won't matter, because Bitcoin is just one information transfer protocol.
Please bear with us for a quick message from our sponsors. These videos take a lot of time to make, and we've partnered with brands we trust like Stampseed and the Orange Pill app in order to get the funding we need to bring you these videos every week. Don't store your Bitcoin in cold storage without stamping your seed phrase on an indestructible titanium plate. Stampseed is fireproof, rust-proof, impact-proof, and easy to hide. It has no loose parts and will give you ultimate peace of mind that your Bitcoin is safe and sound for the long term. Click the link in the description below for 15% off your stamping kit. When I finally got Bitcoin, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was the currency of the future, the only money that truly mattered. But there was a problem. I didn't know anyone else that thought like me. That is until I discovered the Orange Pill app. Suddenly, I was connected with a network of like-minded Bitcoin enthusiasts, right in my own city. The Orange Pill app is more than just a social network. It's a community of passionate individuals determined to change the world, one Satoshi at a time. This series is brought to you by Swan and created by Bit Intelligence. Remember to like this video and subscribe to both our channels for more videos like this every week. Thanks for watching.
The moral of the story is, in my opinion, that what I try to convey is that Bitcoin is not fix-all, end-all solution. Like, I know a lot of Bitcoiners want to say, like, fix the money, fix the world. It's not quite as simple because it's still contingent to human action and humans, acting in their own self-interest. And if humans decide that their interest is to subjugate other human beings, Bitcoin is not going to fix that. What Bitcoin does do is it might make it slightly more expensive to do so, but it's still contingent to human action and the good stories we talked about before. So there's always going to be charlatans, politicians, sweet talkers, and that will promise you the free lunches and the moon from the sky as long as you just give them your money and your life. And that's in exchange you get security. That has been the case throughout human history. So that part I'm not so sure is going to change. It's going to probably change for the better. I hope that it's not going to slip into this dystopia that I'm envisioning, but I want to wake people up to the fact that, it might. It's not a done deal. We still have a ton of work to do as, humans to build the kind of world and put the kind of ideas into the world that we want to see. So it's not good enough to just, stack Bitcoin and HODL and then wait for magically the world to become better, because it won't. Because it still needs human action to function. Yeah, definitely. Like, one of the big things that I think make Bitcoin so significant, and time chain specifically, is that we first time in human history have immutable ledger of history. Because history is generally written by the victor. And this is something that I'm sort of exploring in this story as well, because there is a sort of a victor in this as well that is manipulating the time chain data. They still, for all their might, cannot erase it, but they can influence people and readers and browsers to discard some part of the data to obfuscate the truth. But regardless, the truth is there. What happened, it doesn't necessarily tell you if what happened or what somebody said is true. It just states that something happened at this specific moment in time, and I think that's immensely valuable and interesting. And we can't really fathom the implications of having a monolith of absolute truth, which we've never had as humankind before.
As Nico reminds us, Bitcoin isn't just about money. It's about freedom, human action, and the stories we create to shape the world. Our current financial system manipulates the flow of value in our economy. It creates inflation that causes all sorts of problems in people's lives and for companies. Bitcoin is immune to all of that manipulation. It offers a transparent ledger, an immutable record that challenges those who have rewritten history for their own gain. We see this time and time again. But as Nico cautions, Bitcoin isn't the silver bullet. It doesn't automatically fix the world. That still depends on us, our choices, our integrity, our willingness to fight for truth and freedom. The future Nico envisions isn't guaranteed. It's a call to action, a reminder that if we want to see a world shaped by Bitcoin's values of transparency and decentralization, we have to do more than stack sats and chill. We must engage, educate, and use these tools to build the better future that we want to see. Whether that's through stories, technology, or simply spreading awareness to your friends and family. The work is far from over. And in the end, Bitcoin may be the greatest tool humanity has ever created for securing individual freedom. But the true potential of this technology can only be realized if we take part in the fight to shape a future that we can be proud of. Stay tuned and remember to subscribe for the latest recaps, insights, and films about all things Bitcoin. This is 21 Voices. If you want to watch another episode, try this one here.